Hello, hello, hey friends, I'm back again. Wow, I don't even know what day it is. Where am I even? What is life? Everything is going on all at once. I'm just trying to stay afloat and just stay anchored in the word, because it feels like that's like the only thing that's consistent right now is the word of God, because everything is always changing so much and so fast. This is insane. No one prepared me for this. I just wanted to make this video today to talk about the day that I've had. I'm doing like weekly vlogs. I'm gonna at least try it, see how it goes. I don't think I've done one before on YouTube, but it's interesting trying to push myself to be consistent in a space that isn't super like different for me, but it is new to me as far as being a part of the collective that's actually creating versus a part of the group that's consuming. When I show up on YouTube, I'm watching videos all the time, I'm taking things in left and right, but it's interesting being on the other side and like pushing myself to actually create content and put it out there. I'm also warming up to my voice and like finding my voice. I actually joined a Toastmasters group a few months ago. Well, actually, I think it's been like a year now. And now I'm challenging myself to actually put myself out there in a different way, where I'm being more vocal in public and just expressing more of myself. It's very uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable. It's really awkward, and I'm learning to love it. For a long time, I felt like I knew I had stuff to say. I had a whole lot to say, but I just never could find the language to actually speak up and like say things. It was so strange. It was like I had stuff to say. I don't know. I don't like this angle. Hold on. Okay, I like this angle a little bit better. Where was I? Yeah, anyways, going back to my talking points and like being more expressive. I usually be having a lot to say. I just always chose not to say something, and I want to break out of that shell, because I always feel like, yes, indeed, there's a time to be quiet, but then there's also time to speak up. There's a time to speak up. There's a time to share your thoughts. There's a time to share your wisdom. And I've been through some things where I feel like I've built a different type of perspective on certain topics, and I feel like I have some wisdom to share, some sort of positive balance to bring to certain discussions and conversations. And I also think I look pretty today. I'm actually wearing my bodysuits, the African bombshell bodysuits. I have them in black and I have them in white. Whenever you just need something quick to throw on when you're running errands, or if you want to dress it up and you're going out, throw these on with a cute, booty, or a cute sneaker with a cute jacket. Yeah, this is the outfit in itself. So I could go both ways. But yeah, it's a bodysuit, bodycon, super chic, for the girls, something quick and easy to slip on. I want to see more women in that. I have a few OG girls that like have it from when I first started putting them out, and I really wish I kept going with it, because I think I would have branched off into a whole different vibe. I don't know why actually I do know why I stopped. Yeah, it's like everything else. I tend to have a tendency to stop things when I run into challenges, or when it gets a little bit too hard. At least that's what I used to do. So I'm also trying to break out of that mold. There's a lot of undoing that I'm doing here. I've noticed some patterns about myself, and I actually noticed that from when I started reading my journals. I've had this one journal for the past 10 years. I got it in 2015 in college, and I was reading through it. And when I was reading through the journal, I was like, dang, I would always first of all, I was complaining about the same thing for years. I was like, wow, this is crazy. I had to pray to God to give me new thoughts. And then I also was able to at least clock some patterns. And one of the patterns that I clocked was that I would start something and then I would stop when it would get too difficult. And I'm like, babes, that's the point. That's the resistance that you have to push past through. That's the resistance that you have to push past through to grow. You have to grow through it when you go through stuff. You know what I mean? That is me like seeing what isn't working and addressing it and becoming self-aware and moving past it. I think the biggest thing about me growing into the woman that I am today, knowing the patterns, habits, and traits that can't come with me into this new season, and like fully stewarding the body and the being that I am, like to the T. And that comes down to eating well, that comes down to working out, you know, like all the things that I really want to be able to embrace and embody by myself and actually really be proud of. Because it's like, right, I don't want to, let me not say I don't want a man right now. Of course, I would love a man, right? But I had to ask myself, like, who is it that you need to become in order to sustain the man that you get? Who is it that you need to embody? And it's like, what does she look like? What time does she wake up in the morning? What books is she reading? What is she eating? You know, what kind of money is she making? What kind of lifestyle is she living? And it's like the more I began to ask myself that, I had to really do like a self-audit. And once I started to clock the things I didn't like, I was like, okay, it's time to fix it, you know? So that's just my way of just evolving and encompassing the being of Shelly. You know, who is she? And it's not that I was too far off. I think I was on a great path, but it's just that sometimes when you're growing along the way, and even some of these things happen naturally, I really do feel like you have to really be careful about who you let into your life, because people will actually set you back versus propelling you forward. And it's like, not everybody can come, and not everybody should be invited into your corner of the world, if you know what I mean. But that just goes down to like just being selective with the things that you engage in, no matter what the capacity is. But yeah, going back to like me being more expressive and talking and challenging myself to do things that I normally wouldn't do. I was listening to a podcast episode today. It was the Jay Shetty episode with Paris Hilton. And it's crazy because a few months ago, I don't even know what I was doing, but something led me to Googling Paris Hilton. And then it led me to looking up her LinkedIn. Oh, I remember. This is a convo for another day, but I was basically just thinking about how like I don't have to put on this facade. I was like, why am I putting on a facade of being an IT babe? Like, oh, I'm this IT girly and trying to act like, I don't know. It was just so weird. I feel like with LinkedIn, you just have to act like you're someone that you're not. And I hate that so much. And I think it finally clocked to me. So then I looked up Paris Hilton and then I Googled her and I realized, I was like, wow, I feel like I'm really similar to Paris. And so today, I listened to her podcast episode with Jay Shetty, and basically she talked a lot about, you know, her life experiences, and she also dropped a new documentary. And she talked a lot about how people basically made her a villain and how that transformed her and gave her a new perspective. And she also talked about, you know, her mental health and her well-being and all that. And if you haven't heard it already, especially to my fellow ADHDers, please take your time to go listen to her new songs. It's actually really good. But that really inspired me. And I'm like, dang, she just inspired me again. So it was like, I knew there was a reason why I had a pull and calling to Paris. So random. But I just resonated a lot with her story, considering that I was just made a villain in a random story that was publicized all over social media for months. It's still, you know, circulating and all that. But I didn't allow myself to sit in that, and I didn't allow myself to identify with that issue or with that problem. I just kind of looked at it at face value and said, okay, what can I learn from this problem? What can I learn from this whole situation, this whole debacle? and really just removed myself from the equation and said, okay, you know, this is bigger than just me. They might be attacking me and like verbally abusing me, but when I look in the mirror, like, they're not touching me. So, and they would never say that to my face ever. Anyone that left a comment that was negative could never say that to my face. They couldn't even probably even look at me when they see me in real life. So it's just like, why would I take offense to that? You know what I mean? Anyways, it was cute though. It was cute. It was cute. I was like, oh wow, I'm actually flattered. I'm actually flattered that you are that mad, you know? But hearing her talk about her problem and like hearing her talk about how she got through it and how difficult it was, it made me realize, like, although our sin looks different, you know, there's all sin is sin, point blank, period. It doesn't matter what you do, it's sin, right? And when that's presented in front of the whole world to see, something that you would never even think the whole world would actually see one day, it hits different. It then causes you to have a different outlook on life. And it's like, until you go through something like that, you're really not going to be able to resonate fully. And when you do go through something like that, may the good forces be with you. I hope you have your Bible, because it's not easy. Not anyone can just go through stuff like that. There's people who experience stuff and they spiral and they end up eliminating themselves. And you have to be really strong in your identity and who God called you to be. You really do. Like, God bless Paris Hilton. I really do love her down. Like, oh, I just have always fancied Paris. I've always fancied Britney. So yeah, I just was inspired by that. And I'm going to keep continuing to push forward and continuing to believe in myself and believe in the vision that I have set in my mind for myself, and just believing that God's will for me is also what is instilled in me too. And so we'll see where this takes me, and I'm just going to continue to push forward and push the needle forward and continuing to become the best version of myself. It's giving above and beyond. We are going above and beyond this year. We're being audacious, like I said in the last video. If you stay till the end, thank you so much, and I'll tune in with you again next time. Ciao.